SGDQ 2015, Prolix here with you. As Edo Bean mentioned, thanks to her for the wonderful announcing during Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. We did have a bid incentive for Shadow of the Colossus to show off the floating aggro glitch, and that was met, so we'll be seeing that. Thanks very much for your donations toward that. As Meows and the Power Up Audio gentlemen finalize game setup, I'd like to talk to you about our sponsors, such as Power Up Audio, an indie sound studio out of Vancouver, Canada. They're worked on games like Darkest Dungeon and Time Spinner. SGDQ is also sponsored by Capcom. Check out the Mega Man Legacy Collection, which has 6 Mega Man games in one. It's retro 8-bit style with an HD finish. We received a $20 donation from Werna81, who says, "Hello everyone, watching the awesome GDQ stream for 3 years now. Keep up the great work. Save the animals. Hype." Camera hype. Denied.
That's not gonna happen though. In the actual run, this is gonna be fine.
Yeah, but it looks funny.
Yeah.
You just get
Yep. It's gonna get super blown up. That's how it's gonna go.
It's already kind of loud.
yeah, that sounds.
Do you all want to chill? This whole couch back there.
I think that sounds a little quiet. My headset. But
Yeah, they're messing with it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
I'll just go over here.
Yeah, I'll just stand around there.
There should be some like music already. But if we don't get anything right now.
Yeah, I don't hear anything right now.
There we go.
There we
There
go.
we go. Getting some stuff.
it's fine right now. Everything else.
I
We're good.
I can hit it for you if you need me to.
So everything's ready?
We're good? Awesome.
All right. This is an arbitrary category, but it's really good for showing off the game in marathons and stuff because it shows like most of the speed tech that's in the game without like an hour of horse riding. I've seen like confusion in YouTube comments and past runs for this category, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. Timing starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let's go. Let's do it, man.
So this first boss, there's a cutscene that I still have control of Wander in, and I'm going to attempt to blind jump from the ground to the Colossus's face.
Yeah, the general concept for movement in this game, or the quickest way of moving across the ground, is going to be rolling. So you're actually going to see Meows doing that pretty consistently throughout the entire run. Right here, you'll see little marks on some of the colossi that they're not what you'll see later on, which are the sigils, the main points that you're supposed to actually attack. They're going to be these kind of little glowing black spots that will trigger certain animations or certain scenes. And as you can see right there, Meows
Yeah, I
across.
messed it up.
Yeah,
Dang.
missed it a little bit at the start.
All right.
So again, like he was saying, you can move during that cutscene. There are certain cutscenes in the game when a colossi is moving, where you, as Wanderer, can move as well. And if you go in a particular direction, he can actually get on top of the face early. So this is actually the first sort of sequence break fight in the game.
Yeah, it's really tight during the cutscene little movement you guys got to do.
Yeah, the angle is very particular. He's actually sticking to the that particular side of the leg right there, and you can see Wander starting to run towards the camera. It's very, very
All right,
precise.
got it.
So
Nice.
right there is really, really good. So something that's very important about that angle is that several things can go wrong in that kind of situation. One is that you can fall near the leg and you actually get clipped by the leg as he's moving, and it'll take you too long to get to the head. Another thing that happens is that you can get too close to the fist because that actually hits the ground as well. So it's very particular about it. Right here, when it comes to sword stabs, you want to charge your grip gauge. If you look at the bottom right where that circle is, you want to, and there you go, that's the first fight. You want to charge it up.
This is a rocky start. I
Getting
got
there,
it.
though. You got it.
Yeah, you want to charge it up to a particular degree. Certain fights you'll see have certain amounts of grip or certain amounts of charge that you want to go for. In this case, we just went for 3 full charge cycles. The way the grip gauge works essentially is that it controls how much you can charge your sword for. It controls how long you can actually grip, hence the term grip gauge. And it also controls underwater. So whenever he's swimming around underwater, it controls breathing. You'll see that in a little while too.
Important stuff.
Yes. So that was the first fight, Valis. We're actually going to Quadratus right now. This fight is pretty straightforward. Every Colossi in this game has very unique strategies, and as far as the speedrun goes, they all kind of abuse different things. For example, in the first fight, you saw kind of sort of a sequence break, pretty much the unintended way to get on top. This one's going to be a little more straightforward. The idea is that you need to wait for Quadratus to lift its hooves up and shoot it with your arrow in order to topple him down so you can get up. So nothing too crazy about the pattern that we're going to be taking for this Colossi. Next, you can see there he knocked him down, so he's going to get to the nearest point where the fur is. The Colossi are mostly made up of either both fur and sort of bone and armor. Right here, he's actually going to abuse some of the thigh there, so he gets up early. So he was still in sort of that animation where he was crouching, and that allowed him to get up a little bit earlier there instead of having to climb all the way up.
Yeah, basically pushes them up.
Mm-hmm.
You want to explain how planting works? Because I'm about to do that, and it's
Yeah, planting. You'll see this. You'll see this on Quadratus, and you'll see this on a few other Colossi as well. Certain Colossi have very particular spots that allow Wander to not get shaken off really by almost any animation that the Colossi has. Some of them looking really bizarre. So right here, he's going to plant himself right in between sort of that left side of the armor and that middle section, almost that horn-like section. And it really doesn't matter how hard Quadratus shakes around. You can see Wander is still able to hold the stab.
That was
and
good.
That's the second fight.
It's really important to get the plant by his head there because each of his shake cycles cost about 10 seconds. And during the plant, you can stab through the middle of it no matter what.
That was a good fight overall.
Yeah,
I
Yep.
have a donation if you don't mind.
go for it.
JD Palmer sending in $20
Oh,
and says,
dude.
Meows is a criminally underrated speedrunner with one of the most relaxed, enjoyable streams on Twitch. You're the man, Meows. Good luck on the run. Cool cat. Prepare for cool cat spam Twitch chat.
Thank you, Palmer.
So we're going into the third fight here, Gaius. This one is, I would, in my opinion, one of the most scary as far as the starting strat, but definitely one of the most impressive. Again, this is a very, very big sequence break. For any of you who might have played this game casually in the past, the general idea of this fight is to have Gaius swing his sword on a particular part of the ground, a metal part that will break this sort of band that's around his upper right arm near his elbow, and that allows you to scale up the rest of the boss. We're actually going to be skipping that and abusing momentum in this game. Something that's really interesting about this game is that it's very driven by its physics and being able to control and mess with the momentum in the game in very unnatural ways. So right here, he's going to plant himself on a very particular part of the sword, and once his animation gets to a certain point, as he's raising the sword up, he's going to run forward a little bit and jump.
Got
And
it.
he got it right there.
That was
Very
sick.
good.
That was clean.
And just before jumping to the stomach, he actually grabbed onto the arm a little bit. What this allows him to do is it puts Gaius into a specific cycle where he's shaking his arm around a little bit, or not really shaking, but kind of just casually swinging it side to side. And you can
Camera's
see
not having any of this.
The camera angle, yeah, the camera likes to get stuck here because Quadratus is in that animation that where he thinks you're on the arm. So by abusing that, it gets him basically free stabs on the stomach, whereas if you were kind of playing this casually, he would be thrashing around. It can be kind of difficult.
It's kind of important to note that the PS3 version is based on the PAL PS2 version, and in the PAL PS2 version, they decided to make it much harder, and they did that by making it so Wander loses his footing a lot easier because they wanted a bigger emphasis on using your stamina smartly. So if you played on the NTSC PS2 version, you basically got easy mode.
Right.
Which is why a lot of Euros have a slightly worse opinion of it.
And that's the third fight done.
That's good.
I just want to stress that jump is hard. This game in general is very, very, very hard. There are a lot of points where some one cycles that are not intended at all we're going to be doing. There's some stuff like sequence breaking, things like that, and just again abusing the physics of this game in really crazy ways. Right there, it's actually really important to note. It just saves like a second, maybe 2 seconds or so.
Yeah.
But jumping into the water there speeds up the animation of your death, and it takes you straight to the loading screen a little bit faster, as opposed to staying on the ground. The fourth fight, this is one of my personal favorites, Phaedra, the horse colossi. Again, big sequence break. A lot of people won't remember this casually as being the one where you go into the caves and you're supposed to kind of lure Phaedra to one of the caves and run out the other side, and while he's bending down, jump up on him. We're actually going to do something really cool here. So Aggro, our horse, will give us a little leverage here in this fight, and we're going to get up to him a little bit early. So I'm going to let this play out, and then we'll explain it. That jump is really wonky. You have to kind of angle Aggro in a certain position. What's really difficult about that jump really is the perspective of where you're coming from, and just trying to get around Phaedra, and then again abuse that momentum to get up to this leg.
Dang it, dude. It's alright.
Okay, we're up.
There you go.
This is the hard part.
This part, again, it's very, very difficult. The legs are not designed really to be gripped onto. It has points where you're supposed to grip, where you can grip on, obviously, but it's definitely not intended. Many colossi with this kind of structure have very, very specific places where you're supposed to grab onto again, and to be able to use this is really difficult.
There we go.
That was
There we
good.
go. Nice. Okay, we're up there. So again, the rest of this fight is pretty straightforward. Just gonna be getting to the top and stabbing the sigil. So the way that works essentially is that, again, kind of abusing the way the physics work. As Phaedra lifts that particular leg, you kind of jump up onto that ledge, and it gives you just a little bit of a leverage to where, as you jump from that, the leg is coming back down, and you can kind of sort of meet that upper ledge right where Wander needs to grab it. It's pretty timing intensive. There are some kind of visual cues and different leeways that you can use. I know I use a completely different visual cue than I think what Meows is used to doing. So it's definitely interesting to see kind of what other runners do with that. But yeah, it is very, very hard. This is definitely one of the colossi that, as far as the speedrun goes, I think walls a lot of people.
It's definitely a big choke point.
That's good.
Very good fight. All right, so that's 4 colossi down. There's a total of 16. And just in case anyone's wondering, again, this is normal time attack mode, so this is not any percent, but we are doing these in order. Again, it's pretty arbitrary as far as what order you go for. Obviously, you don't want to go from the very first colossi in the room to the very last one, but you can really go in whichever order you please. But we're just going to be doing this in order. So this would be casually the 4th colossi in the game.
This next one is really scary.
He got it though.
The physics for this one are different than any other colossi because it's supposed to emulate you being like in the air, going really fast, and it's really punishing because usually about anywhere you land in the water, it's about a minute swim back, and every time you retry the fight, it's a 40-second swim to like even get to the Colossus.
Yeah, in a speedrun setting, this game is that's a very common theme. Is that if you make a big mistake in this game, it's not just like, oh, I lost 10 seconds, I lost 20 seconds. It's like, I lost 4 minutes, that kind of thing. Many fights are very, very punishing. So if you look at even the best players on leaderboards and that kind of stuff, a lot of the gaps are pretty strong, even though they're all at a very similar skill level. It's just getting a really solid run is very, very difficult. Swimming underwater here is faster, by the way. That is something you're going to see in the few times that we're actually swimming throughout the run. This fight has a few particular patterns that can happen. Really, a couple of big ones. We're just going to lure Avion over here and just jump straight on. This is a very cool fight, by the way. I love this fight. It just looks so impressive still. There is a sigil on the right wing, the left wing, and the very, very back of the tail. We're just going to go straight for the right one. And after Meows kills that right sigil, there's going to be 2 major patterns that he's going to go for. So let's see which one we get.
Got the bad RNG.
Got the bad one.
He doesn't want to cooperate right now.
And right there you can see a little cool trick right there.
That is the scary part.
That's the really tricky part. So falling off that wing, you can kind of skip over the middle section instead of having to run along it.
Because we got the bad RNG, I have to wait for him to quit flapping here.
Yeah, the other pattern that we want to happen is where Avion basically just levels out and lets you freely walk on him. But in this case, we have to wait through a couple of the little flight cycles. But it's over with now. So there's not an extreme amount of RNG, I would say, in this game. This is kind of one of the few spots it's really a factor. It's a very punishing game in the sense that it's just about like 97% of the stuff that can go wrong is really more on you. There are some kind of wonky things that can happen, but it is pretty punishing in that regard. This sigil is kind of interesting in this sense of how far away it is.
It's got like a really big hitbox.
Yeah, the hitbox is massive. And that very end, you'll see this a few times during the run, but that very last stab was a jump stab. It actually does. It's a little bit faster, I would say. They kind of just kind of getting a little animation at the end, and it always the jump stabs always do a consistent amount of animation or of damage. It always does a full stab worth of damage.
I do it as the last stab, like right there, because it takes longer to pull out the sword after you do the stab than it does to charge it up and do a normal one.
Mm. So this next fight coming up is again another example of sort of a really cool sequence break, but also a good example of abusing momentum, kind of similar to how you saw Gaius go. So this one, it's called Barba. I call him Barbara.
This one's pretty difficult.
He has a beautiful beard. You'll see in a moment. The intended way for this fight to go is basically you're supposed to get to the very end of this arena and go into this sort of cave kind of thing, and he lowers his beard down so you can grab onto him. That's the main thing of the fight. Meows is actually going to be foregoing all of that in order to get to him early, so I'm going to let this part play out, and again, we'll explain it, because I love this strat. It's so cool.
Kind of got a bad spot on the hand, but that's all right. There we go.
You got it, nice.
Oh, that's perfect.
So essentially what he did right there was that there's a part on the band that's sort of broken, and it kind of allows for a decent footing. He waits for a particular moment where Barbara lifts up his arm, and he's able to kind of get a footing and then jump straight to the head. You can actually get right to the very, very top brim before his forehead starts. So you got a little lower placement there, but as long as you get on it, you're good. So that was really awesome.
Gonna wait for my stamina, because marathon safety.
Yeah. Yeah, whenever, another thing to note, whenever you are gripping onto the Colossi, again, your grip meter will drain. So it's kind of good to find parts of the Colossi that you can stand on and just kind of wait. Grip meter refills pretty quickly. It's not usually too difficult. But it can get really scary in points during certain fights where it starts to drain a lot and you're kind of pressed for time. That's a lot of the kind of stress factor that comes into the game. And good fight.
Yeah, the back gets really weird there. Like, it shakes you everywhere, so it's really safe just to wait it all out.
Yeah, those are some of the scariest places, because again, you're not really on a horizontal surface. There's no way to plant yourself very well. You're kind of at the mercy of whatever animations the Colossi wants to do there, and Barbara loves to shake around, so it can get pretty difficult there. So we're going to be going into Hydrus. This is a kind of water-based Colossi. This one is really unique. We're actually you'll see in a moment a cool mechanic that I feel like, especially a lot of casual players of this game, have never known existed. I certainly didn't know until I saw a speedrun of it. But yeah, you'll see in just a bit. Meows actually goes for a particular setup right here. Once that third little tendril thing passes that column, he turns right, and that will always kind of give him a consistent way for Hydrus to see him. Normally you just kind of float around in the water until he spots you, but that tends to be pretty consistent. The whole idea for this fight is that you're supposed to, once you're actually on him, he's going to be going above and under the water repeatedly, and you kind of go through and stab those little, whatever you want to call them, those little electrical things, and to get closer and closer to the head. But a cool thing here is that you can actually
roll
underwater
for some reason.
That's crazy. So that allows us to abuse this fight pretty quickly. You are not supposed to be able to one-cycle this fight at all. So this is a good example of one they're actually going to be doing that with.
I'm going to skip the first two tendrils because if you stab those, like, the first time you do damage to him, he's on like a timer, and after so many dips, he's gonna go way deep down to where you can't stab him. So if you stab any of the early ones, it's really hard to one-cycle him.
Yeah, this third one he is going to stab just because the sigil is right next to it, and he doesn't want to take much damage. The lightning from those things does a lot of damage up close. All right, good fight.
That's good.
And Meows, you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but it looks like the more he dips down and then comes back up, the less time you seem to have.
It's different for each one. Like the first one, you don't have very much time because you got to move up there and get a good position, and then the second one is like a free stab, and then the third and fourth one are really short. So.
Yeah, the last ones in particular always look really short. It can be a little tricky.
But if you miss any of them, you have to get like you have to get a jump stab on the last two. Otherwise, you're not gonna one cycle.
Yeah, and again, to once again stress the amount of time loss that you can have in this game. If you were to miss that one cycle, that's a lot of time gone. This game can get very, very punishing in that regard, but it's definitely impressive to see. So this one is going to be one of the first, like a smaller Colossi that you're going to see. Not super small, but this one actually is, it's called Koromori. He's going to fight in this little arena, and he shoots lasers. So I don't know if any of you had this, but the first time I played this game casually, and I saw this, I was kind of terrified because lasers. So he's going to do a specific setup here. He's whistling to kind of lure Koromori into a specific position along the wall. He does climb across the wall, or climb along the walls in this arena. He's going to wait for him to get to a certain spot. So as you can see, he's using, I think, L1, correct? To focus in on the Colossi and see exactly where he is. And right here, he's going to shoot a laser, but...
There we go.
There you go. So you shoot 2 limbs, and immediately falls. The cool thing about the strat is that you abuse this by falling with him, and so you get there immediately. And as long as you really land on the Colossi at any particular point, you really won't get hurt, so you don't have to worry about falling damage at all. And
That's awkward.
Yeah, that placement is pretty difficult. The little kind of spiky points along the body can throw Wander's footing off a little bit.
You still got him, right? Thanks. Nice.
And there you go.
Physics are very fun in this game.
They are.
They're all very heavy. Like everything in this game is super heavy, but you have a lot of control over it. So it's really satisfying to get the momentum tricks down.
Yeah, moving with Wander is just it feels so different, but it's definitely a lot of fun. And you do have a surprising amount of control. Simply jumping and then just moving the air with Wander, you have a lot of control over your momentum and kind of where you plant yourself. So it definitely feels unorthodox at first for a video game, but it's a lot of fun. And as a speedrun, I think it's just really impressive to see.
This one can be random. I want him to start out by shooting me or attempting to shoot me, and then I hopefully dodge it.
Yeah, Bassaran is really the only example of a major difference in a fight between the time attack version and the any percent version. So there's different patterns that you can get. So he did a delay on the lasers there. Fall, and yeah, that placement's pretty difficult. So he can do multiple things. And in 80%, he always does the same thing. He'll kind of like go for a little bit and do lasers. In this case, he can do lasers immediately. He can delay and do lasers. He can just sit in the back and chill, or he can really walk forward. So it's kind of dependent on what he does. We got the same attack pattern there, so we're gonna try to
He sniped me.
Yeah, he sniped. So it can be a little difficult in
The
in
best-
the NTA.
The best one is if he sits back and chills in the cave instead of walking forward.
And again, so this is this particular trick. Again, it's a very big sequence break for the fight. This is by far the there you go. It's by far the not the intended way to do it. The actual way is you have to lure him out pretty far, get him under this geyser, and shoot his hooves to have him fall over, and then you can get on them that way. He's sort of supposed to be like the turtle Colossi, so he has this like giant shell. He's very, very heavily armored, so it's difficult to get up onto him.
Dang.
Snipe there. It's really tricky. Those lasers will track in surprising ways.
Yeah, when he does that type of behavior, you want to hope that like you're under his arm by the time he can shoot you, so that he ends up shooting his own arm instead of you.
In spite of resetting or retrying this, it's still saving quite a bit of time, unless you like, as opposed to just doing it normally.
And if he
Right.
doesn't shoot, he does that attack way early, so I can't get up there and abuse it.
It saves a lot of time.
It really does. There are so many fights in this game where you could fail the strat even most of the way in, and it's still faster to retry than trying to just recover it.
And
That was an interesting one.
yeah,
While you restart, I could read a donation.
okay.
Guy Plu donating $30 and says, just want to donate during my favorite game of all time, Shadow of the Colossus. Let's hope for a good run from Meows and some good jumps on Avion. I think Avion did go well. Thanks.
This is the best one. There we go.
Okay, we're still not quite there yet. We need to fall on the leg. Yeah, that's one of the, in my opinion, the more difficult part really is trying to get that angle and falling directly on the leg. Again, all of this is very, very, very unintended.
It's very finicky.
It's very finicky, yes.
All right, well, I don't even have to drop on the leg now because I was able to grab the top ledge.
Nice.
So that's something that happened as well. So the strat that we were going for before was, again, you kind of grab on. It's a lot easier to grab onto that underside. Those are actually the ledges that when he's toppled over, when you do the casual strat, you kind of climb up to, and then as he flips over, you get to the top here with the shell. Before he was trying to get onto the leg and then abuse that to get sort of near the back end. That's a lot lower. But in that case, if you get a really, really good jump, you can actually get right to the ledge. So this is, yeah, it's a difficult strat. From here, there's not really a whole lot of control that we have over what Bassarin does and how he shakes his shell. You can lose your footing very quickly here. You saw him kind of waiting there to get a proper moment, and he's going to plant himself.
Yeah, I had to wait for him to get out of the cave because when he's in the cave, he's in at like an angle that it's really hard to get any stabs in. So it's worth it to wait for him to get out.
From here, it's very straightforward. You just kind of stab, wait through the movement cycle and stab. All right, and that's Bassarin. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe there's a particular spot that you can plant on there to avoid getting shaken around between attacks, right? You kind of at his mercy on that one.
You can plant on it, but all of his attacks make you go like vertical rather than horizontal. So it's like really hard to keep it. You can't really keep it like the one where he pulls his head back.
Right. But not even
It's
the one where he kind of
impossible.
shakes around like that.
Sometimes, but it's really weird.
Okay.
Physics are really weird.
Physics are very interesting in this game. Very fun.
This one has a new setup. Well, sort of newish. The Japanese community knew about this a lot longer than we do. Like, I only found out about this a couple days ago, thanks to Shirafan, a Japanese runner. He's amazing at this game. What we used to do is try and judge, like, a certain amount of stabs so we can one-cycle them. And you want to get it in between the window where you don't get rid of the first sigil, but you do enough damage to kill Dirge, kill the Colossus after getting rid of the second sigil.
Yeah, so the idea with this fight right here, and again, this is a very straightforward fight for the most part. We're gonna shoot Dirge's eye, and he's going to run straight in the wall. This one kind of makes me feel bad, doesn't it? He looks so sad.
Yeah.
He tried.
So he's impacted in the wall now, and again, there's 2 sigils. So what we're actually gonna be doing now is like the strat that we just mentioned that was found. There's gonna be what 7 arrows. And it's going to set up a very particular amount of damage. What we kind of had to rely on before was how much damage was done to the eye. And so after we finished stabbing all the sigils, it was basically either you got it and you got the 1 cycle, or there was 1 pixel of health left that the initial arrow to the eye didn't do, and you would have to sit through another like 45 seconds or so to get through another cycle.
He'd chase you down, and you have to do like this all over again.
Right.
Just for 1 really tiny stab, but I got it right now.
There you go.
That new setup makes it super easy.
Yeah, definitely is safer. You do have to take the time to actually stop and shoot him, but it's consistent. That's like the big thing, and all we really want in this game is a consistent fight. It's better to do that than to take such a harsh time loss.
Good angle.
This one's kind of funny. What the intended strategy is to get a torch and drive this guy off the edge of the cliff. But you can just drop the torch at the edge of the cliff and have him charge at you, because since you're not holding the torch, he's not afraid of it anymore for some reason. And then you can pick it right up as he's like about to hit you.
Yeah, Colossus is one of the 2 sort of kind of small boar-like colossi, and he's very, very fast, very small. All right, so Meows is going to run over here and get up to this section as well to go ahead and light his torch. Again, like he said, he's going to go over to this ledge that you're meant to sort of lure him to it. Not really lure, but sort of push him. Once he sees the fire and he gets really scared. But in this case, you can drop the torch, and there you go. So again, not intended at all.
Amazing.
It's like, oh, you're stupid.
It's really important that I land on his back. So
Yes, this part is very important. You got it?
All right. Nice. Okay.
And this is a really good example of a really good plant. So even though he's getting thrashed around a lot, it doesn't matter. He got the good plant, and there you go.
Tricked to death.
If you've played this game before, you know how good the little ones are at shaking you off.
Right. It's very, very difficult. You'll see even Wander's going from these like incredibly harsh angles, but if you get that plant, he's still charging the whole way. It actually looks very hilarious. Casually, yeah, normally you would get just thrashed around and you kind of have to wait it out. He travels along this whole arena. It wastes a lot of time. So getting that plant initially and those 2 stabs out is very, very important. But luckily, he's so small, so you only need 2 full charges. Pelagia is a very, very straightforward Colossi. This is pretty much the most kind of basic one, or like most really uninteresting one out of the speedrun. And there's no real way to 1 cycle or anything, so we do have to do this in 2 full cycles.
It's way easier to 1 cycle them on the NTSC PS2 version, but because they made it so Wander loses his footing a lot easier in the other versions, it's really difficult. It is possible, but it's really difficult to 1 cycle this guy on PS3.
So essentially waiting until a certain point where he's going to dip his head down and then getting up there. And you can see he has these little teeth sort of things. Don't ask me why they're on his head. I'm very curious to see what this Colossus looked like before he got damaged. And you can actually hit them in order to guide Pelagia throughout the water, and we're kind of getting into a specific spot. So you can see these pieces over here. We're going to try to climb up on if... There you go. If Pelagia will do what he wants to do.
He controls like very floaty. So it kind of... This one is probably the worst one in speedrun-wise.
Yeah, a lot of places, even that jump that he just did can be very uncomfortable based on how Pelagia is moving and how your footing is. You really want to make sure that you have a good balance before committing to that sort of thing.
He's got like a weird orbit around his head, and it's kind of easy to get caught in it.
So he lifts up his legs here, and there's the only spot on the only sigil he has is going to be right on his stomach. So we're going to get 2 full stabs, and he's immediately going to go back into the water. And from here, it's pretty straightforward. Again, we're going to lure him, get on the head, get to the next piece of architecture, and just kind of repeat the strat.
Again, the 1 cycle is possible, but in order to do it, you end up like risking getting a 3rd cycle. And since the cycle costs about 1.5 minutes on this guy, it's really not that worth it.
Right. Just to, I guess, while we're going through this cycle, just give a little insight on the story of the game if anyone's curious. If anyone hasn't played this game, by the way, please do. It's such a good game. So, essentially, Wander, there's a lady, and he really likes her, and she's asleep. And so, this guy, actually, what is his name?
Who, Dorman?
Dorman, thank you. Oh, I know so much about this game. So Dorman's like, hey, dude, go kill these giant colossi. And you're like, okay, sweet, dude. Yeah, dude, I'll do that. And you pretty much do that, and that's more or less the story. Not a whole lot to look into, but great game.
Yeah, they give you very little story at the beginning. Most of it happens at the end.
If you're curious about whenever we end the fight and you see those sort of black tendrils that envelop Wander, that's sort of Dorman continuously taking over Wander's body. You actually see him getting more and more corrupt. It's kind of a cool little thing that I think gets overlooked by a lot of players. You slowly become more and more kind of corrupt and black as you go throughout the game. And it's sort of Dorman messing with you. You know, he's saying like, this is totally in my favor. You don't know that. I'm totally not messing with you.
Yeah, just gotta wrangle him over there.
I guess while we're finishing up the strat, if you guys want to do some donation reading, this would be a really good time.
Yeah.
Certainly. Akira May donated $30 and says, always watch SGDQ ever since my boyfriend, now fiance, got me into it. Loving to watch all these crazy runs. Looking forward to SOTC. Also, Aludra with a $20 donation. Shadow of the Colossus left me in awe when I first played it, and a speedrun of it in less than an hour will do the same, I'm sure. Good luck on the run, and for killing the Colossi, those animals need to be saved. Also, Paul13 with a $55 and 55-cent donation. GDQ is a great event. I'm sad that it's almost over again. Greetings to all the runners before and those behind the screen.
All right, and that is Pelagia. Just a little thing you know, you probably saw this a lot there. Whenever he kind of got Pelagia's attention, you'll see the sort of blue glowing sections of the Colossi glow orange. And you see that a lot with eyes and things like that. It kind of gives you a good indicator on whether or not the Colossi notices you. Obviously, there's animations that go with that, but it's just kind of a little touch.
There's a lot of little things. Like a lot of little things. It's beautiful.
So Phalanx is definitely one of the most impressive looking ones in terms of scale. The general concept of this guy is, again, he's another flying one, and he has these sacks that are hanging below him. There's 3 sections of them that you're supposed to shoot with your arrow, and it can be pretty difficult as far as aiming them. There's a lot of physics with the arrow that go on to where, again, just like a real arrow, you gotta, because he's so far away, you kind of have to aim away from the sacks a lot of the time and make sure you get the shot. So it can be quite difficult when you're trying to do it as quickly as possible. So he's going to guide aggro between the section and immediately start trying to shoot the sacks. And even when you look away, there is kind of an audio cue for it. You can kind of hear it in the background. Right, there should be all 3 of them down. That is.
If you shoot all 3 sacks within 14 seconds and he decides to go to the left, you can, he'll go really deep into the ground and you can just jump right on top of his back. But to shoot it under 14 seconds is pretty tight.
And right there you got the jump. So this is basically the intended way. Again, like what Meows said, that strat, it looks really, really cool. And it kind of looks very abrupt in the way that Phalanx moves. It's definitely pretty odd. So in this case, we kind of lower him enough to where his wings will get into the sand. And again, just like you saw, have aggro help us jump up top. And from here on, it's pretty straightforward. There are 3 sigils throughout the entire fight. It's pretty unintended to actually one-cycle this guy, but that's what we're going to be going for. And it can be quite difficult, especially with the way Phalanx likes to move.
This is probably the easiest one cycle in the game besides Kuramori.
Mm-hmm.
You just do 1 almost full stab and 1 full stab for the first 2 sigils, and then the last one you just go ham on.
And you'll see between each sigil, Meows is going to be jumping. So again, while Phalanx is moving forward, you're moving away from him. You're kind of jumping as you go to kind of abuse that momentum and give yourself an extra distance. You can see the jump stab there, so that's going to complete the second sigil.
I'm jump stabbing there because he shakes you a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's important. Obviously, it's you're going for a 1 cycle, so the last thing you want to really do is waste time being thrashed around. So more time spent in the air in that case, the better.
There's the 1 cycle.
And that's it. Really, really good fight.
Love that shot.
So cool, dude. I think this is one of those fights casually that when you realize what the intended way to do it, you just look at the game and you're like, do I really have to? I have to do that? That's hard. I don't want to do that, But it's such a cool fight.
And Meows makes it easy.
Yeah.
No problem.
Sometimes.
I have one donation for you.
Okay.
Michael Goldfish with a $20 donation says, these sequence breaks are out of control, especially love the 4th Colossus leg strat. Good luck with the rest of the run, Meows. And speaking of sigils you were talking about, there is a prize right now. Any donation of $5 or more will automatically be entered to win a custom sigil patch. It's iron-on and quite nice.
Dude, I didn't know that was a thing. I want that.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, better get on the website right now then. Yeah.
So, also, shout out to Michael Goldfish, really cool. Tropical Freeze speedrunner.
Ooh. This one right here is my favorite in the speedrun. So what you're supposed to do is, the intended thing is to jump on each column and then have this guy knock him down. But we're just going to jump off of the Colossus and onto the last one, skipping like 8 of these. I forgot how many there were.
It's
but
quite
about
a few, yeah.
3 minutes slower to do that.
Yeah, casually this one is I think my favorite. There's just a lot of really cool platforming and other sections that go into it and kind of luring Cilicia around. I'm sorry, Sidonia, or whichever one. And right here, he kind of hugs that corner in order to get him to turn around. And what he's going to try to do is abuse the physics here and jump up. There we go. Very nice.
First try, easy every time.
That is, again, that is hard. That is really hard to do.
So it can train wreck pretty hard.
It can get really nutty really fast. Right here, okay, so he kind of got him in the bad spot. There's 2 spots that can happen here. He's kind of on the back side of this. He's going to knock this pole down, and what's going to happen is that when Meows goes to this next section and tries to lure him in, he's going to have to go around the whole wall. So it does lose a little bit of time as opposed to him kind of ramming it from the other side.
You can't really control it.
Yeah, you really can't. He just kind of goes where he wants. And again, if you have played this strat casually, you do skip, again, a lot of platforming. We're pretty much at like the very last section of the fight now.
Camera's not having it.
Yeah. There's a little bit of fighting camera in this game.
The worst Colossus.
So he's jumping over here, and that's going to trigger him to get this little cutscene. This is going to actually break his armor and allow us to have a place to plant Wander in order to stab him.
I could have told you the time.
I can see it. It's okay.
Don't cheat. You can't look.
Yeah.
And since he's right on this part, we can just plant ourselves right on here and go in. And as you can see, this is a really good example of getting a really good plant. I'm sure a lot of you played this before, just get thrashed around to no end right here. And it's like, it looks crazy how he's getting these stabs right now. But again, if you get that footing, it really doesn't matter on certain Colossi, and that's it.
Yeah, well,
What are you gonna say?
it looks really silly, just like being able to stab like that when he's shaking. He's really supposed to be flipping around all over the place, but since you plant, like, you can just stab through all of it.
Yeah, the cool thing about the fight normally is that even if we get knocked off, it kind of starts to go back to the rest of the arena. So all the pillars that you would normally knock down become things that he can run up against and actually get stunned by, and then you kind of stab him in between that, and it kind of goes along that pattern. But we kind of use that plant to forgo any of that. So Argus can be a bit tricky. The casual strat is slow, but the speedrun strat is incredibly hard. We're going to be getting, big sequence break. Meows is going to try to take his time to plant himself, get from this leg section to the belt, and then all the way up to the chest. Okay, so we got a good plant. Going to move over to a little bit to the left. There's kind of a ledge right there that he's going to avoid. So there you go. He's kind of in the spot that he wants.
Right. Dang it. There we go.
And there we go. Good. Yeah, he looks for a very specific point in which, during that walk animation, Wander can actually get a footing and get the jump. It's a very, very, very short window, and it's pretty hard.
I got it once, but I charged too long, but I was able to get it on the second try.
He's not really too happy about it.
No, he's pretty upset.
Yeah, I'm so mad, dude.
Why are you cheating? So there's two sigils on Argus, one being on the head and the other is actually on his hand. He's currently holding a sword, so that becomes a whole nother dilemma you'll see in just a moment.
Alright, I'm gonna wait for my stamina here. If you miss the stab on the elbow, you might as well just do the whole fight over again.
Right.
So I really don't want to miss it.
Yeah, this is by far one of the scariest.
What the
yeah,
heck?
one of the scariest fights in the speedrun. Again, kind of waiting out these elbow shake or these shoulder shake cycles right here. So the idea is that kind of wait through a couple of these, and then once he starts moving, you can head down to where the elbow is. And that little spot right there, yeah, it's better to be safe than to fall and have to restart.
So he drops his weapon. What does it work?
He's very upset.
He liked it. He liked his weapon.
Yeah, ideally you're supposed to actually kind of go along either the left or right side of this whole sort of arena and lure him to various spots. Eventually you would climb on a bridge at the very top and then get on his head that way, but obviously you kind of did it unattendedly. And all he needs is just one stab on the hand, and that's going to do it. So he's going to get planted here, and that is Argus.
That was sick.
Very good. Yeah, and again, like I said, it's if you were to follow the hand right there, even at the very, very end of the fight, you might as well just restart and do the strat again instead of going the casual way. It takes forever. And that leaves us with one more Colossi, Malice.
And then the aggro glitch got met, right?
Yes, it did, I believe.
Yes.
Be looking out for that.
I think a lot of us are excited more for that than the actual run, I think, at this point.
Well, no shortchanging. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So again, Malice is the very last Colossi. This one's really unique in the sense that he basically forms this tower. He doesn't actually move from his spot. A lot of the challenge at this very beginning is to get to him. The idea is that you're supposed to be dodging his lasers and kind of going in and out of these little caverns. But Meows is actually going to forgo all of that and simply roll his way all the way there. Let me stress that this is very, 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 very hard. If you get slammed by one of those little missiles that he shoots, you get stunned for a very long time. He does a lot of damage. Right there, he does a sweet jump that I absolutely love, where the missile goes right under him. Straight up diehard stuff. He did get nailed a bit there, so he's gonna have to retry. Yeah, once you get nailed in that kind of spot,
that is the scariest part right there. After that, it gets a bit easier.
right. There's actually a little kind of a little tiny corner, tiny ledge that you kind of go for, and if the missile lands right in front of it, you can avoid that and then go on. And then after that, you're pretty much home free. But yeah, it's very, very precise, this whole section. And again, die hard, cool.
So cool.
Again, there's that ledge
Got
right
it.
there. Got it.
Nice.
Okay, good.
It's just very, very precise stuff.
Right. And so from here, it kind of looks like these missiles are supposed to hit him, but they're just going to hit along the wall. The hitboxes are kind of wonky as far as the area of effect.
Which is good for us.
And one's going to hit this wall right here. It's going to avoid that.
Gonna do pitless.
And we don't need hits. We don't need pits, dude. Can't wait for that one. And
There
then
we
that's
go.
it. So that's really, really good. That's hard, dude. Yeah, so that shaves off a lot of time, and you're again not having to go into a single one of those caverns is really crazy. And there's a lot of other platforming stuff that goes on with that. This one is an interesting fight. If you've seen this one casually, it's good. I'll let this fight speak for itself. But we skip a lot of stuff. There's all these sorts of phases where you're supposed to kind of hit certain parts of Malice's body.
What the heck?
Wander, please.
Wander, please. You're supposed to kind of hit certain parts of his body in order to, you know, he's going to wave his hand here, you grab his hand, you go up, you shoot a certain part of his body, shoot his shoulder or something, he moves his hand to his shoulder, you go to that. You're kind of going all these different parts of his body from arm to arm. But again, we're going to be forgoing a lot of that, so.
Wander got pretty drunk there. For a
He
second.
got a little tipsy, he's tired.
It's been a lot of work.
This is something I think a lot of people, especially I had no idea you could do this. You can actually lure his hand right down here and gets on it pretty early. I believe the ideal way is to, or the casual way is that you can kind of get to his stomach or like near that or so. But so we're just gonna run and jump. All right, got it. And you can see Malice. Even Malice is like, you're not supposed to be up here.
That was very clean.
And Malice's pattern is pretty straightforward here. He's going to get stabbed just as he's reeling back. And so that way he's able to kind of stay in the animation. And
If I were
avoid
to
getting
stab
shaken around.
earlier, it would like break the plant, and I'd have to wait for the whole shake to be over to
Right.
set it back up.
And this is going to be time coming up on the very last hit. Time.
There you go.
What was that?
So used to work.
52:33. That's not
Yes.
bad.
That's pretty good. That's good.
I'm excited for this glitch.
Now the real part of the
Yeah.
day can begin. You can see dying on air. It's pretty cool. So overall, really good. Just again, this game it's punishing, but we definitely got the show off. Hello.
Oh.
Definitely got
Hello.
the show off a lot of cool stuff, and good job to Meows. It's really, really impressive. If you want an idea, again, boot this game up. Try to do one of these strats. Really, well, not Pelagia straightforward, but like really try to do some of these, and you just be like, no, I can't. It's pretty ridiculous. So I'm always impressed watching any good runner of this gameplay.
Yeah, a lot of the strats get really frisky, but he handles them very well.
So for this glitch, aggro likes to teleport when you're not looking at him or when you're really far away from him. So what I'm gonna do is get him, like ditch him over at this cliff.
We don't need him.
Yeah. And aggro can't die at all. If he gets hit by a Colossus, he gets right back up. So I'm gonna leave him. I'm gonna get him over the death plane, and the game doesn't really know what to do with him. And at this narrow part, aggro can't like turn into this little path right here by himself. He needs me. So I'm gonna call him and make him. Well, he did it right there. Dang.
Just proving you wrong.
Oh, he's mad.
Yeah.
He knows what you're trying to do.
He feels insulted. Just put him in his place.
All right, stay up there, nerd. I have to keep the camera on him the whole time, otherwise he'll teleport when I don't want him to.
Yeah, there he is. Look at him turn around. He doesn't. I don't need you anyway.
So the game's gonna try and teleport him back onto the bridge, but I'm gonna wait until he's over in the cliffs way over there before I teleport.
There he goes.
Oh, there he is.
And so
He's off.
when the game tries to teleport him onto the bridge, it's gonna teleport him over the death plane.
Bye.
There he goes. And so since aggro can't die, the game doesn't quite know what to do with him. So I'm gonna get him to teleport again. And there's going to be a little bit of rolling. Sometimes I can roll past these stairs of the temple and then come back and he's like right around this area. And if that doesn't happen, I have to go to the first Colossus, and that's a guaranteed spawn because the cutscene spawns him.
But he's blue right now. He's gone.
Yeah,
I can read some donations while you roll.
yeah.
All right. Byron207 sent in $50 and said, I'm sorry that my need for sleep made me miss the Wind Waker run, but getting to see Shadow is a nice consolation. Also, Biggie Burns with a $50 donation. First time watching GDQ. You guys are awesome. I'm very happy to see Shadow of the Colossus, my favorite game. Good luck with that from Germany. And Riffraff 11235 with a $16 donation. I don't know what I was expecting when I picked up Shadow of the Colossus all those years ago, but 8 playthroughs and a platinum trophy later, I think I can safely say that it has a very special place in my heart. Thank you guys so much for including this wonderful game in SGDQ. Save those cute little frames.
I recommend not going for the platinum trophy. The lizard one is ridiculous.
It's pretty stupid.
All right, so he spawned over here, thankfully. Otherwise, I would have had to roll all the way to Valis. I think I'm close to him. Where is he? Oh, there he is.
There he is.
So
What's up?
he's stuck in this animation where he's taking damage and he can't get out of it. And if you were to try to complete the game without him and like walk around, he'd just teleport behind you when you're not looking at him. So a lot of people would accidentally do this because I did it in like the easiest place to do it, but you can do it like in a lot of places accidentally. And a lot of people on like old forums and stuff, they couldn't beat the game because they did this accidentally on a Colossus that needed the horse to progress.
Is he actually there?
Yeah, he's there. He's completely solid. So he's just floating there.
He's just chilling out.
Yeah. That's it.
Rest in peace. Adam.
Nice Shadow of the Colossus.
Thank you guys for having me. It's really fun.
Thank you for your Meows for letting me help commentate. I really enjoyed this game, and it was a pleasure.
I supplied the Woogities, and I was there for you. So, but I'm glad it went so well.
Thank you for helping commentate.
Great run.
Jeez. Uh-oh.
I mean, we could just chill here. We can just play some more.
That'd be fine.
Like, yeah, I mean, that's cool.
This is comfy.
This couch is really comfy. I mean,
I have a $50 donation from Anonymous. Colossus is a spectacular experience. I hope Meows can live with himself after murdering all those majestic creatures.
I'm done.
In fact, he has inspired me to kill the animals. Thanks for a great week, SGDQ. Also, F. Yoshi with a $50 donation promised I would donate again, so here's the last of my vacation money. Great event, and I can't wait for AGDQ. Great watching you, Meows. Thanks for letting me relive one of the PS2's gems. Curly Brace with a $30 donation. Doctors Without Borders is a wonderful charity, and Shadow of the Colossus is a wonderful game. Best of luck, Meows. Kill those colossi and save those animals.